I think we should end this, Ethan. Her voice cracked, but her eyes didn't. They were cold, distant, like she'd already left me days ago. I froze, staring at her across the dining table. And what? I asked, though I already knew. Our marriage, she whispered. I've filed for divorce. For a second, I thought she was joking. The air in the room felt thick. You can't be serious, Sophia. She looked away, fiddling with the gold bracelet I bought her on our second anniversary. I've been unhappy for a long time. Unhappy? My chest tightened. You didn't seem unhappy when we planned our future, when you said you loved me last week. Her lips trembled. I lied. I didn't mean to hurt you, Ethan, but I can't keep pretending. Pretending? I laughed bitterly. Pretending that you love me? Or pretending that you're loyal? She stood abruptly. Don't make this harder! I slammed my palm on the table. Then tell me the truth, Sophia. Who is it? Silence. Only the clock ticked behind her. When she finally spoke, her voice was barely a whisper. Liam? The name hit me like a punch. Your boss? She nodded, eyes glistening. It just happened. I stared at her in disbelief. You're telling me you fell in love with your boss just like that? It's not like that, she said quickly. Liam understands me in ways you don't. Understands you? I stepped closer. You mean he's rich? That's what you wanted, isn't it? Her eyes darted away. Don't twist it, Ethan. I'm tired of living paycheck to paycheck. I'm tired of worrying every month. So you're selling your soul for comfort? My voice cracked. You think money will make you happy? It's not just money, she murmured. He believes in me. He makes me feel alive, I laughed. Harsh, hollow. Alive? You mean you feel expensive? Her hand shook as she picked up her purse. You'll understand one day. I already do, I said. You never wanted love, Sophia. You wanted a lifestyle. She turned to leave. Don't make this ugly. It's already ugly, I muttered. You just painted it gold. She paused at the door, her back to me. You'll find someone better, Ethan. I almost laughed again. You mean someone poorer? She didn't answer. The door clicked shut behind her, leaving a silence so heavy it pressed against my lungs. I sank into the chair, staring at the empty plate in front of me. Her untouched wine glass still shimmered under the light. My hands shook as I reached for it and threw it across the room. The crash echoed through the apartment, sharp and final. Liam, I whispered. The name tasted like poison. Hours later, I sat in the dark, phone in hand, scrolling through her social media. There she was, smiling, standing beside him in a glittering suit, the caption reading, "A new beginning." My heart clenched. A new beginning? For her, maybe. For me, it was an ending I never saw coming. When morning came, I was still awake. My eyes burned, my chest felt hollow. I dressed quietly, took the train, and walked to the courthouse. She was already there, dressed perfectly as always. Not a single tear. Ethan, she said softly, please don't make a scene. I stared at the woman I once thought I'd die for. You already made one, I said. The lawyer explained the papers, the signatures, the assets. I barely heard him. I just kept staring at her hand, the same hand that once held mine when we dreamed of kids, of a home. She signed first. I hesitated, pen shaking. Please, she whispered. It's for the best. I looked into her eyes. For who? She didn't answer. When I finally signed, I felt something tear inside me. Not just love. Something deeper, like my purpose had been erased. We walked out of the courthouse together, but it felt like we were strangers passing on the street. Outside, rain had started falling. She pulled her umbrella from her purse. You should go home, she said. I don't have one anymore, I muttered. She blinked. Don't be dramatic, I almost laughed. That's rich coming from you. Her driver pulled up. Liam's car, I recognized it from his company events. The black Mercedes gleamed under the rain. She turned once before getting in. Goodbye, Ethan, I stared at her. Goodbye, Sophia. I hope he gives you everything you traded me for. The door closed. The car drove away. Her laughter drifted faintly from inside, then disappeared into the sound of rain. I stood there, drenched, staring at the empty road. My reflection shimmered in the puddles, broken, blurred, and small. People passed by, umbrellas high, avoiding me like I was invisible. Maybe I was. The papers in my hand were already wet, ink bleeding across the page. her name beside mine, smudged but permanent. I whispered, "So this is how love ends." No one answered. Only the rain. I walked aimlessly through the streets until my shoes squelched with water. Every step echoed her words, "I've filed for divorce." At a red light, I stopped. The world around me was alive, cars honking, lights flashing, but inside everything was dead silent. My phone buzzed. A message from Daniel. "Heard about Sophia. You okay?" I typed back, "No," then deleted it. What could I even say? I pocketed the phone and looked up at the sky. The rain didn't stop. It just kept falling, like it knew my world had collapsed and wanted to drown it too. When I finally reached home, I dropped the keys on the counter. Her perfume still lingered in the air, haunting every corner. I whispered to the empty room, "You chose him." I'll remember that. Then I sat on the floor, soaked, staring at the door she'd walked through for the last time, and I made a silent promise to myself. If love could destroy me, then success would rebuild me. The apartment was silent except for the soft hum of the refrigerator. Empty bottles lined the coffee table like failed attempts at peace. I sat on the floor staring at the ceiling fan spinning lazily above me. I should eat, I muttered to myself, though I hadn't cooked in days. The kitchen smelled like stale beer and regret. Her voice still echoed in my head. I filed for divorce. I threw the glass against the wall. It shattered, and for a moment I felt something. Then the silence came back heavier than before. A knock broke through it. I ignored it. The knocking grew louder. "Ethan, open up!" It was Daniel, I groaned. "Go away. I'm not leaving until you open this damn door." I dragged myself up, unlocked it, and stepped aside. He took one look at me and sighed. "You look like hell." "Thanks," I muttered, collapsing on the couch. He glanced around. Pizza boxes, bills, whiskey bottles, the divorce papers on the table. "You've turned this place into a war zone." "It matches my life," I said flatly. Daniel sat across from me. "You haven't been to work in a week." "Olivia called me." "Olivia?" I frowned. "She's just a coworker." "She's worried," he said. "Everyone is. You disappear, stop answering calls, and now this." He gestured to the mess. "This isn't you." I picked up a bottle and stared at the last drop inside. "Maybe this is me now." He leaned forward. "She's not worth this." "She was my wife," my voice cracked. "You don't understand." "I do," he said softly. "You loved her, but she didn't love you back the way you deserved." I looked away. She chose him because he could give her more. More what? Money? Status? That's not love. "It was enough for her," I whispered. Daniel's tone softened. "Ethan, she left because she didn't know what she had. Don't let her mistake define you." I clenched my fists. "You think I want this?" I can't even look at her name without feeling sick. Everywhere I go, people whisper. I see her face on magazine posts, smiling beside him. "She's happy." "I'm not," Daniel sighed. "Then change that." "How?" I snapped. "How do I just forget?" "You don't," he said. "You live through it. You get up, clean this mess, eat something. You start small," I scoffed. "Motivational speeches now?" He smiled faintly. "Someone has to drag your sorry ass out of this pit." I rubbed my face, exhaustion pressing against my skull. "I can't even focus long enough to write a single line of code." "Then take a break," he said. "Or go back to the office. See people. Olivia said your project's still waiting." "Olivia said that?" He nodded. "She said, 'Tell him we're saving his desk.'" I chuckled bitterly. "She shouldn't bother." Daniel stood and grabbed a trash bag. "If you're going to rot here, at least let me help clean." "You don't have to—" "Shut up," he said. "Hand me the bottles." I watched him move around the room, tossing things away like pieces of my failure. "You really think I can come back from this?" "I don't think," he said. "I know." I leaned back, staring at the ceiling again. "You make it sound easy. It's not." "But you've got two choices, Ethan. Stay broken or rebuild." Something about his voice, steady, certain, cut through the fog in my head. "Rebuild," I repeated quietly. He nodded. "Good start." We didn't speak for a while. The rain outside tapped against the windows, a soft rhythm that filled the silence. When he was done cleaning, Daniel dropped the trash bag by the door. "I'm not saying you should forgive her," he said. But you can't let her win by destroying yourself. I met his eyes. What if I don't know how to start? Start by standing up tomorrow morning, he said. Go outside, breathe, show the world you're still here. When he left, the apartment felt emptier but cleaner somehow. I sat there staring at the space he'd cleared. The phone buzzed. A message from Olivia. Hey, are you okay? Everyone misses you at work. Don't vanish, please, I typed back, trying to be. Then hesitated, deleted it, and sent, I'll be fine. Moments later, she replied, Good. Coffee tomorrow? I stared at the message, thumb hovering. My chest ached, but a small warmth flickered under the pain. Coffee tomorrow. Maybe I needed that. I texted back, yeah, 10? Her reply came fast. Perfect. I placed the phone down and looked around again. The mess was still there, but the air felt lighter. Maybe it was Daniel's words, or maybe it was the thought of someone still believing in me. I whispered to myself, You left me broken, Sophia. But I won't stay broken. The night dragged on, but I didn't drink again. I opened my laptop, the screen's glow filling the dark room. Code lines blinked at me. My project folder stared back, half finished. I hesitated, then started typing, slow, unsure, but alive. Every keystroke was like breathing again. Around midnight, I stopped, leaned back, and smiled faintly. Maybe tomorrow won't hurt as much. The door creaked open slightly. Daniel must have forgotten to lock it on his way out. The sound didn't bother me. It felt like life seeping back in. I walked to the window. The city lights blurred through the rain. Somewhere out there, she was living her new life. Laughing in fancy restaurants, wearing diamonds that weren't gifts of love but of pride. And yet, I felt something she didn't. Freedom. For the first time in weeks, I whispered, Thank you for leaving. I meant it, because her absence had stripped me down to nothing. And maybe that's what I needed to start over. I looked around one last time. The empty apartment didn't feel like a prison anymore. It felt like a blank page. Tomorrow, I decided, I'd start writing again. Not for her. Not for revenge. But for me. I turned off the lights, let the quiet settle, and lay down. In the dark, Daniel's words echoed softly. She left you because she didn't know what she had. I smiled faintly. Her loss, I whispered, and for the first time since she left, I slept. The office lights flickered as I stared at my screen, lines of code swimming before my tired eyes. Still here? Olivia's voice came from behind me, soft but teasing. I didn't look up. Someone has to fix this bug. It's past midnight, she said, setting a coffee cup beside me. You've been staring at that screen for hours. I know, I murmured. It's all I have now. She pulled a chair beside me. You're still talking like your life ended, didn't it? I sighed. She left and everything just stopped. Olivia leaned back. You ever think maybe it's supposed to start again? I turned to her, eyebrows raised. Start again with what? An empty apartment and a heart that doesn't trust anyone? With yourself, she said simply. I chuckled. You sound like Daniel. Smart man, she said, sipping her coffee. Maybe you should listen. I rubbed my temples. I've tried, but all I can think about is work. It's the only thing that doesn't lie to me. Work can't heal you, she said. Maybe not, I replied, typing another line of code. But it distracts me. She watched me type for a while, the sound of the keyboard filling the silence. Then she leaned closer. What are you building? A software that can automate small business analytics, I said quietly. AI-based self-learning. It could help people who can't afford big systems. Her eyes widened. That's actually brilliant, I shrugged. It's just an idea. Don't do that, she said, frowning. Don't talk like it's nothing. This could be something big. I paused, my fingers hovering over the keyboard. You really think so? I know so, she said. You're good at this, Ethan. You always were. Her voice had a certainty mine lacked. I looked at her, the way her eyes reflected determination. For a moment, I saw what belief looked like again. I whispered, maybe I'm just scared. Of what? She asked. Failing again, I admitted. In love, in work, in everything. She smiled faintly. Then fail forward, I blinked. What? Fail forward, she repeated. If you fall, at least fall in the right direction. I laughed softly. You should write motivational posters. I'm serious, she said, nudging my arm. You lost someone who didn't deserve you. Don't lose yourself, too. Her words hit harder than I wanted to admit. I leaned back in my chair. You think I can really rebuild? I don't think, she said. I know. The office went quiet again. Only the hum of the server filled the air. I stared at the screen, my code finally compiling without error. A small success, but it felt like oxygen after drowning. It works, I whispered. Olivia grinned. Told you. She reached for her cup, then winced. Cold, I handed her mine. Take it, she smiled, surprised. You actually sharing coffee? Mark this day, I smirked. Don't get used to it. We both laughed quietly. For the first time in months, it didn't feel forced. Hours passed without notice. We fixed bugs, tested loops, argued about syntax. It was the kind of chaos I'd missed, the kind that meant progress. Around 3 a.m, Olivia leaned back and groaned. If I see another error message, I'll throw your laptop out the window, I grinned. You won't, you're too nice, she tilted her head. You don't know me that well. I met her gaze, something soft flickering between us. Maybe I should. She smiled faintly, but her tone was gentle. One day, when you stop seeing ghosts, the words lingered. I turned back to my screen, her reflection faint in the monitor. Maybe I'm getting there, I said quietly. She stood, stretching. Then you're further than you think. When she left, the office felt emptier, but not like before. This time it felt like space waiting to be filled. I stared at the logo on my screen, a placeholder name for the project, Ether. I erased it. Something inside me whispered that it needed a new identity, something reborn. I typed slowly, Nova Core Systems. The word looked right. New core, new beginning. I leaned back, whispering, Nova Core. The next morning, I registered the name officially. It felt symbolic, like carving my initials into a new future. Later that day, Daniel called. You sound different, he said. Maybe I am, I replied. About time, he chuckled. What changed? I smiled faintly. Someone reminded me I'm more than what she left behind. He paused. Olivia? Yeah, she's a good one. Don't mess it up, I laughed. It's not like that. Sure, he said knowingly. Still keep her around. You need people who see your light. That evening, Olivia dropped by again, holding takeout. Thought you might skip dinner. You thought right, I said, taking the bag. You're predictable, she teased. Efficient, I corrected. She smiled. Fine, efficient and stubborn. We ate at the desk, surrounded by screens and wires. She asked, so what now? You've got a name. What's next? Funding, I said. If I can find someone who believes in this as much as I do, she raised an eyebrow. You'll find them, I shrugged. Maybe? Not maybe, she said firmly. You will. Her confidence felt contagious. I nodded. Then I'll start reaching out tomorrow. As she left, she turned at the door. Ethan, she said softly. Yeah? You're more than what she left behind. The words hit deeper this time. I watched her walk out, her silhouette fading into the hallway light. I sat back, her voice echoing in my head. Maybe I didn't need revenge. Maybe I just needed to rebuild. That night, I emailed a few investors. Hours later, a reply came, short, professional, interested in your concept. Let's discuss. Howard. I read it twice, heart racing. Mr. Howard, I whispered. You're about to meet the new me. I closed the laptop and looked around the office. It wasn't much, just clutter, coffee stains, and endless screens. But to me, it was rebirth. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel broken. I felt ready. 3 months later, my mornings no longer began with regret. They began with code. Nova Core was running smoother than I'd hoped. Investors were finally replying. Still, every victory felt hollow when the past crept in. Did you see this? Olivia asked one morning, dropping her phone on my desk. I didn't need to look. Another tech headline? Not quite. Her tone shifted. It's Sophia and Liam. They're on the cover of Business Weekly. My stomach tightened. I glanced at the screen, Sophia's smile, radiant, her hand hooked around Liam's arm. The headline read, The Power Couple of Tomorrow. I stared for too long. Olivia spoke gently. You don't have to look at it. I already did, I muttered. Guess she finally got her world of gold. Olivia crossed her arms. And you got yours, one you built yourself. Not yet, I said, scrolling through the article. They just raised $20 million in funding. Liam's company is everywhere. So what? She asked. Money doesn't mean peace. Maybe not, I said. But it sure buys smiles, she sighed. Ethan, stop measuring your worth against her choices. You're doing something real. I rubbed my face. Yeah, real but small, she leaned forward. Small things grow when you water them. Big things die when you fake them. I looked at her, her eyes sharp with conviction. You really believe that? Completely, she said. Let them have their world. You build yours, the words sank in like quiet thunder. I nodded slowly. Then let's build. We worked late that night, fixing server issues, improving the AI model, arguing over UI designs. Around midnight, I said, you should go home. She shook her head. You should too. I can't. Not until this works. She smiled faintly. Then neither can I. When she finally left, I opened the article again. Sophia looked flawless, diamond earrings, champagne in hand, Liam beside her. She'd traded struggle for spectacle. Congratulations, I whispered bitterly to the screen. You won. But deep inside, something said otherwise. A week later, I met Mr. Howard at a cafe. He was in his 60s, calm eyes behind thin glasses. So, Ethan, he said, stirring his tea, tell me what makes Novacore different. I straightened my back. Our platform uses adaptive AI to simplify business analytics for small companies. It's not just data, it's guidance, he nodded. I read your proposal, impressive, but tell me, why are you building this? The question caught me off guard. Because I know what it's like to start from nothing, I said. I want to give others a chance to grow without needing millions. He studied me for a long moment. Personal motivation. I like that, I smiled slightly. It's all I've got. Mr. Howard leaned forward. Then I'll be direct. I'm interested, my breath caught. You mean, I'll invest, he said simply. $500,000. I believe in you, Ethan, I blinked, unsure I'd heard right. You're serious? Very. He sipped his tea calmly. You're building something authentic, and authenticity sells. I sat there in stunned silence. Thank you, Mr. Howard. This means more than you know. He smiled faintly. Don't thank me yet. Make it worth something. When I left the cafe, the air felt lighter. For the first time, the world didn't seem like it was working against me. I texted Olivia immediately. He invested, she replied in seconds. $500,000? I knew it! You did it, Ethan! I stared at her message, grinning to myself. Maybe, just maybe, destiny had shifted. That evening, Daniel called. You sound like you're in a good mood. What happened? Novacore just got funded, I said, barely containing my excitement. He whistled. No way, that's incredible. Yeah, I said. Feels unreal, he paused. So does this mean you can finally stop checking Sophia's photos? I groaned. You sound like Olivia. Then she's smart, he said. You're winning, Ethan. Stop looking back. I know, I said quietly. It's just hard to forget what she did. Then don't forget, he said. Just outgrow it, I smiled faintly. That's exactly what I'm trying to do. The next morning, Olivia burst into my office. I brought donuts. Celebration fuel, I laughed. You think sugar fixes everything? It fixes most things, she said, grinning. So what's next for the big CEO? CEO, not yet. Soon, she said. You've earned it. I looked at her, bright, determined, nothing like the world Sophia chose. Thank you, I said. For staying, she shrugged. You do the same? Maybe, I said. But I doubt I'd bring donuts, she laughed. Then you're hopeless. As she turned to leave, she paused. Ethan? Yeah? You're not competing with her anymore. You're surpassing her. Her words stayed with me all day. That night, I opened my laptop again. Sophia's photo had gone viral, a perfect couple at a gala, the comments full of envy. But when I looked closer, I saw it. Her smile was wide, but her eyes weren't alive. Something inside me stilled. I whispered, Keep your gold, Sophia. I'll keep my peace. I closed the browser and opened my project files. Lines of code filled the screen. Messy, complicated, but mine. For the first time, I didn't feel anger. I felt direction. Mr. Howard's words replayed in my head. Make it worth something. I smiled to myself. I will. As the night deepened, I typed faster, fueled by something stronger than revenge. Purpose. And in that quiet glow of the monitor, I realized I wasn't chasing her shadow anymore. I was building my own light. "Do you ever sleep?" Jacob asked, leaning over the glowing monitors. "Only when the servers behave," I said, half smiling. He laughed. "They won't, not when we're growing this fast." He wasn't wrong. Novacore had exploded in ways I hadn't imagined. 1 year ago, it was just me and an idea. Now, it was a company with 40 employees, 3 investors, and clients across 5 countries. Olivia poked her head into my office. "Press interview at 10. Don't forget to smile like a normal human this time." "I smiled last time," I said. "You terrified the journalist," she teased. "He thought you were calculating his life choices." Jacob snorted. "He's not wrong," I pointed at him. "Fix the analytics bug before making jokes." He saluted and left, grinning. Olivia sat across from me. "You've changed, you know." I raised an eyebrow. "For better or worse?" "For real," she said. "You walk like you own the world now." I leaned back, smirking. "Maybe just a small part of it." Her eyes softened. "You earned it." That word, earned, stayed with me. Every sleepless night, every line of code, every moment I almost quit it had led here. When the interview started, the reporter asked, "What inspired Novacore's creation?" I smiled slightly. "Failure," he blinked. "Failure?" "Yes," I said. "I lost everything once. It taught me that the only real foundation is the one you build yourself." Afterward, Olivia said, "That was powerful." I meant every word. Weeks later, I stood in a showroom beside a sleek black Mercedes. The salesman smiled. "First luxury purchase? First symbol of victory," I said. Driving it home, I didn't feel arrogant. I felt free. Every turn whispered, "You made it through." That night, Daniel called. "You're officially a big deal now, huh?" "Define big," I said. "You're on business news, driving a car that cost more than my house." I laughed. "Don't exaggerate," he chuckled. "Proud of you, man." "She'd choke if she saw you now." I paused. "Who? You know who?" I smiled faintly. "Let her choke then." 2 weeks later, fate decided to test me. I walked into a downtown cafe needing a break before a meeting. I ordered black coffee and sat near the window, scrolling through data reports. Then I heard a voice I'd almost forgotten. "Excuse me, Ethan." I froze. Slowly, I looked up. Sophia stood there, same face but different eyes. Faint lines of stress cut through her once perfect expression. For a second, neither of us spoke. "I almost didn't recognize you," she said. I closed my laptop. "That's because you never really saw me." She bit her lip. "You look different." "I should," I said. "It's been a long year." "I heard about Novacore," she said quietly. "It's everywhere. So is karma," I replied. She looked down. "I deserve that." I leaned back. "You deserve whatever you chose." Her voice trembled. "I didn't mean for things to end like that." "You filed for divorce, Sophia." "You meant it." She swallowed hard. Liam's company collapsed. He's facing charges." "I lost everything." I raised an eyebrow. "Everything you traded me for?" She nodded slowly. Yes, silence settled. The same silence that used to break me now felt comforting. She finally said, "You seem happy." "I am," I said simply. She looked at me with glassy eyes. "I'm glad. I really am." I stood picking up my coffee. "Some mistakes," I said, "can't be undone." Her lips parted, but no words came. I walked past her, feeling nothing but calm. Outside, the city shimmered. I caught my reflection in a glass window, sharp suit, confident posture. I barely recognized the man staring back. For once, that was a good thing. Later that evening, Olivia called. "You missed the investor dinner." "Yeah," I said. "Something came up." "Something important?" "More like closure," she paused. "You saw her, didn't you?" "Yeah." "And?" I walked away. There was a smile in her voice. "Good. You didn't owe her a second more of your time." "I know," I said softly. But it still felt strange. Strange how? I thought I'd feel anger. Instead, I just felt done. "That's healing," she said. "It's not dramatic. It's quiet." I smiled. "Yeah, quiet feels good." The next day, my assistant buzzed me. "There's someone waiting in the lobby. Says she's your ex-mother-in-law." I frowned. "Ava?" Yes, sir, I went down. Ava stood by the window, clutching a handbag. Her face carried kindness, something Sophia had never inherited. Ethan, she said softly. You look well. Thank you, Mrs. Ava, I corrected. It's been a while, she smiled faintly. Too long. I wanted to apologize for her. I shook my head. You don't have to. I do, she said. I warned her she'd regret it. She didn't listen. She made her choice, I said. Ava sighed. And now she lives with it. She talks about you, you know. I looked away. That chapter's closed, she nodded. You've become the man I always hoped she'd stand beside. Her words hit deeper than I expected. Thank you, I said quietly. Take care of yourself, Ethan, she said. You deserve happiness. As she left, I whispered, maybe I already have it. That night, Jacob and I sat in the office balcony, city lights reflecting off the glass walls. He raised a bottle. To Novacor. To rebirth, I said. He grinned. You really are a phoenix, you know that? Maybe, I said. But even phoenixes remember the fire that burned them, he chuckled. Just don't fly too close to the sun again, I smiled. Not planning to. As he left, I stayed a while longer watching the skyline. The city felt different now, not like a battlefield, but like a stage. For the first time, I wasn't fighting ghosts. I was leading something real, and as the lights shimmered across the horizon, I whispered to myself, you were right, Olivia. Let them have their world. I built mine. Jacob burst into my office one morning, phone in hand. You're going to want to see this. I frowned. If it's another press release, I'll pass. It's not, he said, dropping the phone on my desk. Liam's company, Titanus Systems, they're under investigation for fraud. I stared at the headline. Titanus CEO faces financial misconduct allegations. For a moment, I just stared. Then I leaned back and whispered, so it begins. Jacob watched me carefully. You're not happy? I'm not angry either, I said. It just feels like gravity finally caught up. He sat down. You think Sophia knew? I shrugged. She's smart, but greed blinds people. She probably didn't want to know. Olivia entered, holding 2 coffees. What's going on? Jacob handed her the phone. Your favorite couple just made the news. She read the headline, then looked at me. Wow, karma's early this year, I gave a faint smile. Maybe karma doesn't need witnesses, she smirked. I'm stealing that line, Jacob chuckled. You two are scary when you sound wise. I ignored him, turning to my screen. Any details yet? Plenty, Olivia said, scrolling through her phone. They're being audited. Investors are pulling out. Grace, Sophia's best friend, apparently leaked their private messages to the media. Grace? I asked. The one who used to mock my old car? The same, Olivia said, amused. She sold chat logs showing Liam faked deals and used Sophia's name to manipulate clients. I let out a low breath. That's brutal, Jacob raised an eyebrow. You almost sound sorry for them. I'm not, I said. But I don't enjoy watching anyone crumble. Not anymore, Olivia tilted her head. That's growth. I'm proud of you, I smiled faintly. Don't say that like I'm your therapy project, she laughed. Maybe you are. We spent the rest of the morning discussing updates and client reports, but my mind kept drifting. Every few hours, a new notification about Titanus appeared. Each one revealed deeper cracks, fake invoices, hidden debts, disappearing funds. By evening, Jacob leaned against my door. They suspended trading. Liam's empire is officially crashing. I nodded. Predictable. He studied me. Still no celebration? I turned to him. When I was broken, no one cheered. Why should I? He grinned. Because poetic justice deserves applause. I prefer silence, I said. It echoes longer. That night, I sat alone on my balcony. The city lights flickered below, calm and endless. My phone buzzed again, another alert about Titanus. This time, the headline read, Sophia Carter removed from executive board. I opened it. The article showed a photo of her leaving a building, sunglasses hiding her eyes, her face pale. Liam reportedly called her a liability. I read aloud. The irony almost made me laugh. The man she left me for now left her for his image. Olivia called right then. You saw the news? I did. You okay? I'm fine, I said. Just watching the universe balance itself. Good, she said softly. Because you don't need revenge. The world's doing the job for you. I know, I replied, and it's doing it better than I ever could. Get some rest, she said. You've earned peace, Ethan. Her words stayed with me long after the call ended. Peace. I wasn't sure if I'd earned it, but I could feel it settling inside me, slow and steady. The next morning, I walked into the office early. The smell of fresh coffee and humming servers filled the air. Jacob arrived, holding his laptop. New development, I looked up. More fraud? Worse, he said. Their biggest investor is suing them. Liam disappeared last night, vanished from the city. Gone? I asked. Private jet. Rumor says he fled before the arrest warrant could land. I exhaled slowly. And Sophia? Abandoned. The media's tearing her apart. I rubbed my chin. The same headlines that once praised her will bury her now. Jacob nodded. Exactly. So what's your move? Nothing, I said. Let it burn without me. He smiled faintly. You really have changed. Pain does that, I said. You either rot in it or rise above it. Around noon, Olivia called out from her desk. You got an email. From someone named Clara Brooks. I froze. Clara? She frowned. You know her? She's Liam's ex-wife, I said. What does she want? Read it, Olivia said, forwarding it to me. I opened the message. Ethan, I know what he did. To you, to me, to everyone. I have proof. If you're willing to help me expose him, I'll share everything. Clara. I leaned back in my chair, reading it twice. Olivia appeared at the doorway. Well? She has evidence, I said quietly. Emails, documents, maybe more. Olivia crossed her arms. And you're thinking about saying yes? I am, I admitted. Because it's justice? She asked. No, I said. Because it's truth. People like him don't deserve to keep rewriting history. She studied me carefully. Then promise me something. What? Don't do this for revenge. Do it for closure. I nodded slowly. Closure then, she smiled faintly. Good, because karma doesn't need witnesses, but sometimes it needs a little push. I chuckled. You're getting philosophical again, she winked. I learned from the best. That night, I stared at the email again. I thought about Sophia, about Liam, about every sleepless night that built the man I'd become. I typed a short reply. I'm listening. As I hit send, I whispered to myself, not for vengeance, for truth. Outside, thunder rolled softly over the city, like the world itself acknowledging the storm that was about to begin. And for the first time, I wasn't afraid of it. Clara's voice came through the speaker, calm but sharp. I have everything, Ethan. Bank statements, fake invoices, even the offshore accounts. I leaned forward, gripping my phone. You're sure it's enough to take him down? She chuckled darkly. Trust me, it's more than enough. Liam's empire was built on sand and stolen signatures. I exhaled slowly. Then we finish this. Mr. Howard still in? She asked. Absolutely, I said. He's furious. Titanis defrauded one of his partners last year. He's been waiting for this. Good, Clara said. I'll send the files tonight. Once you have them, your contact can deliver them to the media. I'll handle it personally, I said. Then we bring the golden couple down together, she said quietly. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Two people wronged by the same man, united not by hate but by justice. Clara, I said softly. Why are you really doing this? Because I want my name back, she said. And because you deserve closure. I smiled faintly. Then let's burn his mask off. 2 days later, I sat in Mr. Howard's office, the city skyline reflecting off the glass walls. He scanned the files on his tablet, his face tightening. These are explosive. You're sure they're real? They're verified, I said. Clara cross-checked everything. He nodded slowly. Once this goes public, there's no going back. You understand that, right? I do, he looked at me. Then I'll make the call. He dialed a number, speaking in his calm, measured tone. Yes, this is Howard. I'm sending you something not for investment, for exposure. I watched the city lights flicker beyond the window. For the first time in years, I didn't feel small. The story broke within 24 hours. Every major outlet ran the headline, Titanis CEO arrested for corporate fraud. Underneath, photos of Liam being escorted by police flooded the internet. But what caught my eye was the smaller line under his name, Partner Sophia Carter under scrutiny. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Jacob called first. You did it, he said. We did it, I corrected. He laughed. Man, the internet's eating this up. Karma's trending. Let it, I said. The truth deserves the spotlight. Olivia messaged next. Proud of you. You didn't just rise, you restored balance. I typed back. Balance was overdue. By evening, Sophia's face was everywhere. Not as Liam's glamorous queen, but as his complicit partner. The photos were brutal. Her makeup smudged, eyes hollow. Reporters camped outside her apartment. Every network replayed clips of her standing beside Liam at old galas, her laugh echoing against flashing cameras. I sat in silence, watching the same woman who once told me I wasn't enough now being devoured by the same world she'd chosen. My phone vibrated. Unknown number, I ignored it. It rang again. And again, finally, I answered. Yes? Her voice trembled. Ethan, it's me. I said nothing. Please, she whispered. Just listen. I'm listening, I said flatly. I don't know where to start, she said. Everything's gone. My house, my accounts, Liam's in jail. They're calling me a fraud too, I exhaled. You built your world on lies, Sophia. What did you expect? I didn't know, she cried. I thought he was honest. Honest? I said. You left me for a man who sold fake dreams for a living. You just didn't care as long as they looked real. I was wrong, she said softly. About everything. About you. I felt the old ache tug at my chest, but it couldn't find purchase anymore. No, I said. You weren't wrong about me. You just never took the time to know me. Ethan, please, she pleaded. I don't want forgiveness. I just want you to know I'm sorry. I closed my eyes. So am I said quietly. She hesitated. For what? For who I thought you were. There was silence on the other end, the kind that ends everything. Then, in a faint whisper, she said, You deserved better. I found better, I said. Peace. Before she could reply, I ended the call. I sat back, staring at the dark screen. My reflection looked back, calm, not cold. The pain that used to choke me had turned into something lighter, quieter. Jacob walked in without knocking. You good? Yeah, I said. Better than good, he grinned. Sophia called, didn't she? I smirked. How'd you guess? You've got that post-war serenity thing going on, I chuckled. Maybe that's what peace looks like, he raised an eyebrow. No revenge speech? No victory toast? I shook my head. I don't need either. The truth already did the work, he nodded slowly. Then congratulations, my friend. You survived the storm. As he left, I whispered, and I became the calm after it. Later that night, I stepped out onto my balcony. The air was cool, carrying the faint hum of the city below. I looked up at the stars and the same ones I'd stared at the night she left. Back then, I'd begged for answers. Now I didn't need them. My phone buzzed again. Olivia this time. It's over, she texted. It's done, I replied. You okay? I typed, yeah, I think I finally am. She sent a single emoji, a sunrise. I smiled. Fitting, I murmured, because tonight wasn't about endings. It was about the light after the ashes. I closed my eyes and whispered to the wind, You wanted gold, Sophia. But I found something better. Peace settled like a quiet tide in my chest. For the first time since that day in the courthouse, I felt whole. 5 minutes until you're on stage, Jacob said, peeking through the curtain. I adjusted my tie and exhaled. Feels like a lifetime since I stood in front of people like this, he grinned. That's because it has been a lifetime, Ethan. You built one. I smiled faintly. Yeah, from the ground up. The sound of chatter filled the hall, hundreds of people waiting, journalists, investors, young dreamers holding notebooks. Novacore's 10th anniversary. Olivia walked over, tablet in hand. You're up next. Try not to turn it into therapy like last year. I smirked. I make no promises. She rolled her eyes, but there was warmth there. You'll do great. You always do, her confidence still grounded me. Stay in the front row, I said. I need one sane face out there. Always, she said softly. As the lights dimmed, Jacob whispered, Go remind them why you're here. I stepped on stage. Applause hit me like a wave. The backdrop flashed, Novacore, a decade of resilience. Thank you, I began. my voice steady through the mic. 10 years ago, I was a man sitting in a one-room apartment, wondering why everything I loved had fallen apart. The crowd quieted instantly. I thought failure meant the end, I continued. But I learned failure is where truth begins. I paused, scanning the faces. Front row, Olivia, smiling, eyes glistening. Behind her, investors, employees, strangers who believed in what I built. And then, near the very back, my breath caught. Sophia, older, still beautiful, but in a fragile, faded way. The glow she once wore like armor was gone. She looked smaller, sitting alone, her hands clasped tightly. For a moment, the world blurred. I felt the ghost of old pain, then calm washed over me. I continued. Every empire starts with a single choice, to rise again after falling. Novacor wasn't born from ambition. It was born from heartbreak, failure, and the refusal to stay broken. Applause rippled through the room, but my eyes lingered one more second on Sophia. She looked at me, recognition flickering across her face. I gave her a single nod, no anger, no resentment. Just farewell. I turned back to the crowd. We all chase something. Money, love, recognition. But the truth is, success doesn't mean winning over others. It means winning over the version of yourself that once gave up. When I finished, the room erupted in applause. Cameras flashed, people stood. But my eyes went to one person, Olivia, clapping with quiet pride. As I stepped off stage, she caught my arm. You did it, she said. I smiled. We did it, Jacob joined us, laughing. The speech was perfect. You almost made me cry. You'd cry at a broken printer, I teased. He grinned. Fair, Olivia handed me a water bottle. You saw her, didn't you? I hesitated. Yeah, she came? Back row, I said quietly. Looked different. Olivia studied my face. Do you regret anything? No, I said. Not anymore. She smiled faintly. That's growth. I looked toward the hall. She's part of my story, but not my ending. Olivia nodded. Then leave it at that. After the ceremony, I stepped outside for air. The city shimmered under the nightlights, skyscrapers reflecting the world I'd once only dreamed of reaching. I heard a voice behind me. Ethan, I turned slowly. Sophia stood near the entrance, hesitant, nervous. For a moment, neither of us spoke. The wind carried the faint hum of traffic between us. I didn't think you'd talk to me, she said softly. I wasn't sure I would, I admitted. You looked different up there, she said. Stronger, at peace. I am, I said. Took me a while, she looked down. I don't know why I came tonight. Maybe to see what I lost, I exhaled. You didn't lose me, Sophia. You let me go, her eyes shimmered. I thought money could fix everything. I was stupid. We were both stupid, I said quietly. Just in different ways, she stepped closer. Do you ever think about us? I looked at her, really looked. I used to. Every day. Until I realized the man I am now could never exist if we hadn't broken. Her lip trembled. I destroyed something good. I shook my head. You destroyed something temporary. What came after was permanent. She nodded slowly, wiping a tear. You really forgave me? I had to, I said. Otherwise, I'd still be trapped in that apartment, hating the past instead of living the present. She smiled faintly. You became everything I said you couldn't. I know, I said. That's what made it worth it. She took a deep breath. Goodbye, Ethan. Goodbye, Sophia. She turned and walked away, disappearing into the crowd, swallowed by the city lights. I didn't follow. I didn't need to. Inside, Olivia found me standing near the exit. You okay? Yeah, I said softly. She said goodbye, Olivia smiled. Then so should you. I looked back toward the empty doorway and whispered, Goodbye, yesterday. She squeezed my hand. Come on, CEO. You've got people waiting. We stepped back into the noise, the laughter, the music, the flash of cameras. But it all felt different now, lighter. As the night went on, people congratulated me, toasted to Novacor's success, and spoke of the future. But inside, I wasn't thinking about the company, the money, or even the fame. I was thinking about peace, the kind you can't buy, steal or fake. Later, when the crowd thinned and the lights dimmed, I stood by the window watching the skyline. Olivia joined me quietly. Long road, huh? She said. The longest, I replied. Worth it? I nodded. Every scar. She smiled. Then you finally got your happy ending. I looked out at the stars, their faint glow reflecting in the glass. Not an ending, I said. Just peace. As the night faded, I whispered to myself, she chased gold, but I found light. And for the first time, I didn't need revenge, closure, or even validation. Silence was enough. Love, real love, steady and kind, was my victory.